The COVID-19 pandemic has forced a global reckoning, from shortage of PPE to intermittent lockdown. Nations are wrestling with the fact that they were ill-equipped to control a virus that scientists have been predicting for decades. Vietnam, a country with a population of 97 million, which share a border with China, and where the Chinese account for 1/3 of the total tourists visiting the country, had all the odds stacked against in terms of exposure to COVID-19. But the country miraculously turned out to be a success story, with only 1,531 cases and 35 registered deaths as of 15 January 2021. In Vietnam, no death because of COVID-19 since September 2020. With relatively few recorded COVID-19 cases and fatalities to date, Vietnam now has an opportunity and an imperative to consider its longer-term economic aspiration, even as the country responds to a resurgence of the virus. Enduring success will require Vietnam's leaders to focus on issues and opportunities that long precede the pandemic. While all nations are facing downturn in economy, Vietnam, which kept the pandemic out of the country, has witnessed lesser impact on economy than most other countries. Its supply chain has remained unaffected, the demand of its manufactured goods is growing and will go up further in the post-COVID period. Vietnam's economic success has been a result of providing the appropriate macroeconomic and institutional conditions for investment. In general terms, it has provided the necessary facility for doing business with ease and confidence. Vietnam focused on improving the infrastructure. Its special attention was on transport, telecommunication, and energy. This has laid down the foundation for future growth. Innovation is also encouraged with substantial influx of foreign direct investment. Productivity increased at very fast pace, increased 36% from 2006 to 2017. Socio-political stability combined with policymakers who continue to seek removal of restriction on business by initiating reform, enabling foreign companies to open up business in the country, have helped Vietnam attract significant business from abroad. It has increased infrastructure investment, promote foreign direct investment, increase education and R&D budget, enhance trade integration, and improve institution and policy. The US-China trade war was an impetus for a shift in production from China to Vietnam. The shift in production to Vietnam benefit all submarkets across Vietnam. In 2019, the north of Vietnam caught up with the south compared to the previous years in terms, accounting for half of the total new foreign direct investment projects. In addition, Tier 2 regions that are well linked by infrastructure planning start to show up as highly competitive and fast-growing region with good opportunity to reduce growing costs of land and labor, especially when enjoying tax incentive granted to the economic zone. Cost aside, Vietnam's stable geopolitical situation and the wide-reaching market integration is another success factor. With 260 operational industrial parks, industrialists benefit from the ease of doing business with a relatively swift and simple due diligence process. For the long-term sustainability of Vietnam's manufacturing sector, keeping costs low cannot be the only strategy. The Global Health Security Index finds that no country is fully prepared for the epidemic or pandemic, and all countries have gaps to address. Collectively, international preparedness is quite weak. The average of the GHS index score among all 195 countries assessed in 40.2 of a possible score of 100. GSS recommendation governments should commit to take action to address health security risks. Leaders should closely coordinate and track in-country health security investment with an emphasis of coordinating them with improvement to routine public health and healthcare system. The Global Competitiveness Index published by the World Economic Forum assessed the competitiveness landscape of 141 economies through 103 indicators organized into 12 main types of productivity or pillars, assessing such aspects of enabling environment, human capital, market, and innovation system. Countries are scored from 1 to 100 with a 10-notch jump. Vietnam ranks 67 of the 141 economies in the World Economic Forum's Global Competitiveness Index 2019, being the country whose score improves the most globally. The Worldwide Governance Indicator, projects by World Bank Group report aggregate and individual governance indicator for 215 countries and territories over the period from 1996 to 2019. It reflects perception of the quality of public service, the quality of the civil service and the degree of its independence from political pressure, the quality of policy formulation and implementation, and the credibility of the government's commitment to such policy. Countries are scored from -2.5 to 2.5. Suppose we compare Vietnam with Indonesia, we will find that these two Asian nations have a similar pattern. Except voice and accountability and political stability and absence of violence, Indonesia and Vietnam also head-to-head of ease of doing business parameter. Doing business indicator by the World Bank captures several important dimensions of the regulatory environment affecting domestic firms in 190 economies. For instance, on regulation for starting a business, dealing with construction permit, paying taxes, and getting credit. The latest report ranked Vietnam at 70 out of 190 economies. This rank is relatively good compared to the past, as Vietnam was over the 90th position in 2010, and in comparison to economies with similar per capita income. Yet, Vietnam remains distant from aspiring countries such as Malaysia and Indonesia. The breakdown of the overall rating shows that Vietnam is still ranked lower than 100 in 4 sub-indicators: starting a business, paying taxes, trading across borders, and resolving insolvency. International experience shows that to build a healthy environment for private sector growth, Vietnam will have to upgrade both its human capital and infrastructure. The government has been putting more focus on technical training and post-secondary education. Much progress have been recorded in building the critical hard infrastructure, roads, ports, and airports. The opening of the energy sector to the private sector should help respond to the fast-growing demand and the urgent need to divert from the non-renewable resources. To be sure, Vietnam's pandemic response is not beyond reproach, and it may not be replicable in other countries, especially democracy. Critics will point out that Vietnam centralized single-party governments allow it to make sweeping policy decisions without public discourse or government gridlock. Further, without the widespread emphasis on personal freedom that exists elsewhere, restrictive control measures pass without dissent. Last year will no doubt continue to be a challenging one, but Vietnam could expect the strong growth of recent years to return this year, and it will likely see its position and offshoring location reinforced once the global economy begin to recover. Harnessing this energy to become a middle-income nation will require multiple longer-term investment in the smart technology of Industry 4.0 and infrastructure development. For example, if Vietnam can continue its enviable record of keeping community transmission of COVID-19 at bay while also making the right structural shift to drive growth over the next decade, it could not only recapture its pre-COVID-19 economic position, but drive new economic growth.